Power Stick. Power Stick offers more odor fighters than ever before. By Corel Corporation, makers of Corel Draw, the world's best graphic software. And by Rado Swiss watches. Why just sell time when you can express it? We'll be back with today's final right after this. And here is how Jimmy Connors got to the final this week.
Connors really has played convincing tennis throughout, and it was a big win over Jose Luis Clerc, who came in playing very well, especially after Clerc had just beaten Guillermo Vilas. So Connors has come through convincingly, unlike Westchester, where he had mostly three-setters. This week he's been winning in straight sets.
Jimmy Connors just a few weeks short of his 42nd birthday. 5'10", 155 pounds. Born in Belleville, Illinois. Resides there half the year. Attended college at UCLA. And what about him? 5 straight victories on the Champions Tour. Is this the week where he gives it up?
Well, I think he's going to have a tough match today with Borg. I think conditions favor Borg. It's windy, like I said earlier, and it's swirly. The court's a little slower than last week.
You talk about how Borg plays is really going to be a factor. Jimmy Connors always plays at a very high level. And I think it's going to be key for Borg to keep the ball deep in the court. I think in Westchester, Borg's balls were falling very short. And when Connors was playing in the middle of the court with that knife of a backhand, he really can hurt you. And that was really causing a lot of problems for Borg last week. So if this great Swedish champion can keep the ball deep in the court, I think his chances are going to be better than ever.
Let's look at the bottom half of the draw to see how Bjorn Borg made his way to the final.
Borg convincingly into the finals. He beat Johan Kriek, who's been playing very well in the semifinals. Defeated Dick Stockton, and actually Dick Stockton was telling me after the match he was hoping he could get points in the second set. Borg played so well. So obviously Borg getting better with each week.
I think he won 13 straight points at one time, and when Stockton finally won a point, he went down on his knees, a la Borg at Wimbledon. So it was a great, amusing moment. I'm sure Stockton was relieved that he'd finally gotten a point.
Borg, 38 years old, 5'11", 185, 165. He's not moving like he's 38 years old, from Södertälje, Sweden. One of my Swedish countrymen. And he really has each week brought his game up to a new level. And last week in Westchester, I mean, he really could have broken through. I'm wondering if this is the week.
Well, you know, you can practice all you want, go out on the practice court and hit tons of balls out of a basket, and but when you're playing matches, there's nothing that can replace that. And he's emphasized that you know, you get into that match rhythm, and really it's a mental thing in a way for him too, because he starts feeling more confident about playing the big points. His shots begin to fall in.
Well, he's had the problem that a lot of players, when they stop playing, they have to think when they're doing it out there. And Bjorn told me earlier in the week, he said, you know, now I'm beginning to react to these tough points. I don't think, and when I react, that's when I play my best.
Let's look at these great players' record against each other, and I think no matter who Borg has played in his career, he has an advantage. Borg 10-7 in the regular ATP events, including several Grand Slam events, Wimbledon most notable among those. But Connors is 3-0 versus Borg on the Champions Tour. As we've mentioned, Connors, the winner of all 5 of the previous Champions Tour stops, most recently last week in New York. Our umpire is Dave Radosha from Walpole, Massachusetts. They've taken their warm-up serves, and we're just about ready for this final to get underway.
You know, and I bet Dave is feeling a bit relieved that this isn't a tour event. You know, it's a very relaxed atmosphere. Although these guys try 100%, it just doesn't have the tension of, you know, arguing over line calls. These guys play in a very gentlemanly fashion.
Connors winning the toss, elects to receive on the east end of the court that has the wind blowing in his face.
Second serve.
As much as 15 to 20 miles per hour are affecting the flight of the ball.
This is about a 3-club win today.
Jimmy's telling Bjorn to club it up. 3 clubs on the win today. And ace number 1
hit the line, and boy, these clay court lines, if you hit the line, it skids. It goes so fast. Pretty good backhand there, Lee.
Yeah, well, that one's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's the greatest single shot in tennis. He really does so much with it. But again, that short ball in the middle of the court, Connors makes no mistake on those.
Might be a tactic.
These guys don't waste any time, do they?
Well, you seldom see Borg at the net unless it's to shake hands, and he guesses the wrong way here on the volley, makes a good stab at it. 30 all, first game.
Break point against Borg's serve here in the first game.
That shot was a good example of how the wind can affect a ball that carried just long with a little bit of wind behind it.
Ace number 2 for Borg to get himself out of that little hole. Back to deuce.
Borg really establishing his rhythm from the backcourt. Didn't make many errors yesterday against Clerc.
Interesting tactic in the first game. Borg into the net, half 50% of the points. What do you think, Lee?
Well, I think it's a good play in some respects. I know that when we saw him play in Westchester, he was attacking Connors regularly and having some success with it. When he won that first set in last week's final, he did it by winning a lot of the points at the net.
And Borg.
So Bjorn Borg avoiding a break point here in the very first game of this final. We'll be back with more. Here's a look at Connors versus Borg head-to-head by surfaces. And Connors has the edge on clay, tied on hard court. Borg ahead 3-2 on carpet, and Borg 4-0 on grass. But Borg 10-7 advantage on the ATP Tour. Of course, this hard true court is designed to be very much like the European clay. And it has some different characteristics that you, Coach Ralston, think actually favor Borg.
Well, I was surprised to see that. I didn't realize that Jimmy's beaten him twice in play. And I would have picked it the other way around. I would have picked Jimmy to win on grass. Of course, my picks are always wrong.
15 love.
unfortunate that we have these gusty, windy conditions. It is a component that is going to probably figure unduly in this match.
Game Connors 1-all.
So Connors wins his first service game at Love, so we're 1-all early in the first set.
You can see both players are taking some time, and they sense that wind is affecting their shots a bit, so they're really having to make the adjustment. We look at the new MTV star, Mr. Tony Bennett, enjoying the tennis here in Cape Cod. What a wonderful day we have.
He's quite a tennis player. He loves to play. Borg at the net.
Authoritative volley by Borg.
15 love.
Nice number 3 for Borg on what is probably the tougher side to serve on, with the wind in the face, blowing the toss all over the place. You can hear it gusting in our microphones. And double fault number 1 for Bjorn Borg.
Correction.
Ooh.
First serve.
Jimmy gives him the call. Obviously, it was good. Something you don't see too often on the regular tour.
Like never.
Bjorn missed that first serve on purpose.
Good job.
That ball bounded at an angle off the clay here. Of course, this hard true court is made from greenstone, which is a stone found in Pennsylvania. It's nice drop volley from Bjorn Borg. And
40-30.
Borg with a beautiful first serve. Notice the toss very high. Beautiful knee bend, and he gets a lot of his power through his legs.
What I like about his serve lead, it's so smooth. Everything's together. Balance is terrific, and that's why he has a great serve.
So Borg wins game number 3. They're on service. Borg leading 2-1. Look at the way that Connors and Borg have dominated the major Grand Slam events from 1974 to 1983. Connors never winning a French Open, and Borg never winning an Australian or a U.S., but their names on those trophies many, many times.
Borg with a nice approach shot, hitting it behind Connors. He's got a nice angle volley to finish the point off. And Connors' recovery, and notice the slide on the clay.
They're on serve here in the first set. Borg leading 2-1.
Wet. First serve.
the one-hander hit with underspin. You don't see that a lot, but it's a good tactic against Jimmy because oftentimes his topspin will sit up high, and Connors can hit the ball flat down into the court. With that one-handed underspin, he keeps the ball low, so Connors can't drive it.
Forehand, and Jimmy says that's too good. Watch this. It's just too good. Just kidding, of course. 15-30.
It's so hard to find an opening. Jimmy Connors closes the door with this passing shot. Moves on the run so well and creates stuff when they're in trouble. Good preparation on that passing shot, Dennis. You get the racket back.
One thing the viewers can really pick up on is when you're going to hit a passing shot, get it back. Wait till they get there.
The sooner you prepare for a shot, you know, the more options you're going to give yourself. But if you're setting up and trying to do something at the last second, you can't do as much with it. More chance for error. Both these guys, great footwork, great preparation, especially from the backcourt from Bjorn Borg.
And ace number 1 for Jimmy Connors.
Connors has served beautifully all week, and I think one of the reasons why is his new racket. He's very happy with this new single beam construction that he has, and he said that since the T2000 he's never had a racket that had as much trampoline, and this one, he says, it really gives him a lot of power, and we can see that on his first serve, but also on his second serve.
He's hitting the ball harder. Also, the ball's jumping more spin.
You were saying yesterday if he had had one of these rackets 5 years ago, he'd still be out on the tour doing some damage.
A lot of guys are happy with it. Borg looking for something on the side.
Well, that is a great tactic, and oftentimes it really puts the volleyer in a position to do something. Who's going to create the angle first? I think Borg's volleys have improved. A couple seasons of World Team Tennis under his belt where he was forced to play doubles every night. And, I think he's underrated his play at the net.
Jimmy comes in on a pretty short ball here, so he's just hoping to guess right, and he actually went the right way, but the shot was too good.
43rd.
I think Borg will take that one.
As a gift.
You don't get many easy ones against Connors.
I think he just was kind of confused which way that ball was going to bounce and ran around to hit a forehand when he should have hit that backhand.
So we stay on serve. Borg leading 3 games to 2 in the middle of this first set at the Minident Champions.
And here we see a comparison of the two forehands, distinctly different. Bjorn Borg with a heavy topspin hits the racket underneath the ball, a lot of loop with the wrist, turns over it. Tremendous amount of topspin, the ball bounces very high. Whereas when you watch the Connors forehand, more of a straight take back, and he hits almost every forehand flat or even with a little slice, a little underspin. Both different styles, both great balance, and both great shots.
On serve here in the first set, excuse me, Lee, 4-3 in favor of Borg. Connors serving to the wind.
In some respects, they really reflect their game style as well. You know, Borg grew up on clay. There's a real premium on just keeping the ball in clay. And of course, Connors grew up on hard courts. There's a real premium on hitting the ball hard and fast through the court. When he decides to drive that forehand, he just takes a little of that spin off it. Puts his racket through it a bit more. That's what's so dangerous about Borg's forehand. One could be a loop, but the next one could be a hammer.
I think Jimmy looks a little tired, Lee. What do you think?
He's had a busy week. He had a doubles match late last night. I think we saw that he got a slow start in the Westchester final as well. So if he is feeling fatigued, he'd certainly be in his best interest to get this first set in his pocket.
Jimmy really credited the rain delay to his victory. Allowed him 4 hours to get his act together and conserve some of his strength. He came back 1 set down to defeat Borg in 3, 6-4 in the third.
What a great approach shot by Bjorn Borg. Set up by 2 big forehands. And in this particular point, he wrong foots Jimmy on this next shot. Jimmy's looking for the backhand. Cross court to the forehand by Borg. Inside out forehand.
That was a tricky shot too, because it was very low in the middle of the court.
Tough shot to make.
Gusting during that point now. Here are the winners. Borg 13 winners to Connors 7, and Borg has his first break point against Connors' serve here in the 8th game.
He's really taking advantage of that wind behind him now, really pushing Connors way deep in the court.
Breaks through in the 8th game. He has the first set on his racket, leading 5 games to 3. He took the first set from Jimmy last week at Westchester. In fact, every one of Jimmy's opponents in the quarters, semis, and finals took the first set from him, which probably led to some of his fatigue in the final. He has gotten to this point by winning in straight sets rather convincingly. But all it takes is a few of those points running around with Borg to tire out anyone.
Well, also, Dwight, it's tournament after tournament takes its toll too, particularly if you're winning. And it's Jimmy's tour. There's a lot of outside things that he's got to do.
And we'll be doing it all again next week in Columbus, Ohio.
Second serve.
Seventh stop on this inaugural Champions Tour season. The wind really gusting now, making shots very, very difficult for these two players. It's whipping those trees around pretty good. Capacity crowd once again, as we've seen in all the tour stops to this point. Bullet of a backhand by Borg. We're just all wincing up here.
That's an unbelievable shot, I tell you, because Connors just nailed the return, and then Borg hit it back even harder.
Triple set point for Borg.
Borg taking a page from Connor's book there. Lots of flat drives, moving Connors around pretty good. Ball landing very close to the baseline. It looks like it might have hit right on.
Well, Jimmy's not saying anything, and obviously he thinks the ball hit the line. There's an overrule here. Hard to tell from where we are. Great camera angle there, and the ball looked good to me.
Oftentimes when the ball hits those lines, you can hear it. It's a skidding sound. That's a nylon tape that's nailed down onto this greenstone surface.
Umpire Dave Verdosha playing it as a let, so still 2 set points for
Borg needs to be a little careful here. Second set point that he's let get away, and there's a weakness in Borg. Sometimes he plays a little bit quickly. Against Connors, you don't want to give him any free points.
Connors pushing it wide for the set to Bjorn Borg, so he takes the first set 6 games to 3, and we'll be back with the second set when we return to Willowbank. Welcome back to Prime's continuing coverage of the Champions Tour. This week we're in Mashpee, Massachusetts at the Willow Bend Country Club for the Mentadent Champions. Capacity crowd, as always, for our championship final between Jimmy Connors and Bjorn Borg. Dwight Stones along with Lee Shiras and coach Dennis Ralston. As we begin the second set, Borg, the first set winner, 6 games to 3.
First game for Jimmy Connors' lead, don't you think? Because, he looks a little fatigued to us up here, and he certainly doesn't want to go down an early break.
Two-hander is just deadly. It's such great angle out of the court with it. Well, Connors is talking to the crowd. He's
I feel good. How you feel?
trying to keep himself loose. Get his breath.
Bjorn says, Jimmy asks him how he feels, and Bjorn says, I feel great.
No.
Right on the line.
Some great gets. It's a great lob. Here's a terrific lob. Big overhead down the middle. Jimmy gets this one back, but he's not going to get this one back. Winner.
Ace number 3 for Connors, and he holds in the first game of the second set. And we'll be back with more when we return. Is brought to you by Mentadent, the baking soda and peroxide toothpaste with fluoride. By Power Stick. Power Stick offers more odor fighters than ever before. By Corel Corporation, makers of Corel Draw, the world's best graphics software. And by Conair, makers of family fitness and personal care appliances. And we've had a great time here this week on Cape Cod, Mashpee, Massachusetts, at the Willow Bend Country Club. The 6th stop on the Champions Tour, the Mentadent champions, Dwight Stones, along with Lee Shirus and Dennis Ralston. We're in the middle of the second set. Borg taking the first set 6-3. They're on serve in the second. There's been a break apiece here in the second set with Borg serving up 2-1. Excuse me. Connors up 2-1. Another big serve by Borg. Crucial for him to break back in that third game because Connors can get on a roll. Borg, I'm sure, would love to try to finish him off with straight sets.
There you are.
Well, that's a rare thing to see Connors miss a backhand, really, without being pressured.
So Borg holds, and they're tied here in the second set, 2 games apiece.
Well, Borg really gets a good rhythm when he gets that first serve in. Really sets the tempo for every point.
Before Bjorn hit it.
Well, Borg really just dinking the ball back in the court.
30 left.
The wind in a bit of a lull just then. And Borg getting used to being able to hit out into the wind. It's blowing from Connor's west end of the court towards Borg's east.
Borg giving Jimmy a little help here, you know, in this game. Those free points, those easy points are going to help Connors, because in a match like this, you go through 3 or 4 wins. Jimmy's such a competitor, you just can't count him out. You can't let those opportunities slip by. I believe he hit that shot. That's pretty confident.
That's one thing he's playing with now is confidence.
Boy, this is a ball. He hits a great shot here, and Jimmy makes a desperate get. And look at this. Oh, I'm going to make this one.
So Connors holds here in the 5th game of the 2nd set. They're on serve. Borg ahead 1 set to love, and Connors 3-2. Welcome back to the Mentadent champions on Cape Cod. Here's the rest of the tour as it shapes up this year. Columbus, Ohio next week. Then Seattle, Washington in the middle of September. We'll be back on with you on Prime in Hilton Head, South Carolina that first weekend in October. Then it's on to Los Angeles in the middle of October. And then the Champions Masters, January 17 through 22 in Las Vegas, Nevada. And that's where the winner of the singles will win $100,000. We're in the middle of the 2nd set. Borg winning the 1st set, 6-3. They're on serve, with Connors leading 3-2 here in the 2nd. Dwight Stones along with Lee Shirus and Dennis Ralston. Dennis, now the new director of tennis at the Broadmoor Hotel in Colorado Springs. I think that would be a good site for one of these tour events, don't you, Dennis?
Well, we're certainly interested in having one of these events there. The players are all cooperative. They work hard. They're all great players. So we're going to talk to the head guys here and see, maybe we can get these guys up at Colorado Springs, 6,500 feet.
I believe we go there, won't we?
In an instant.
Oh, it's a beautiful place, and we're building a great tennis facility. And it used to be mainly golf there, so we're going to try and get some tennis events, and this would be a great event for us.
Also pretty famous for great figure skaters and figure skating coaches, as well as the Olympic Training Center up in Colorado Springs. A lot of sports activities happening in that part of the country.
A lot of good fishing, too.
There you go. So a break point for Connors here in the 6th game, with Borg serving, down 30-40. Set. Connors goes up 4 games to 2.
Borg played a pretty good point. You don't see him at the net that often, but he forced Jimmy to hit a tough running pass. But a couple of unforced errors in that game got him into trouble, and now Connors is back in this set, back in the match, excuse me.
Broke Borg earlier in the set. Borg broke right back.
Please reach up today, sometime before it's over.
A wild forehand by Borg.
forehands from Bjorn Borg. Talk about the little topspin that he hits, but boy, can he hit the ball flat when he wants to.
Keep on, Michael.
Well, Bjorn at the net again, and Jimmy just nails his backhand. Can go anywhere, goes behind Bjorn. That was set up by a great backhand, just drilled it 2 inches over the net. Leaf, is this the critical 7th game?
Again, the 7th game looms.
And ace number 5 for Jimmy Connors.
And the way Connors is attacking Borg when Borg's at the net is really a good lesson for a lot of players. You know, you don't have to win it on that first shot. You know, you can hit one shot to set up another one. Connors does that well. He keeps that first shot down low.
So Connors holds and leads 5-2 in this second set after Borg taking the first. Welcome back to Willow Bend Country Club in Mashpee, Massachusetts for Prime's continuing coverage of the Champions Tour. This week, the Mentadent champions. And this is the big final. Bjorn Borg versus Jimmy Connors. Borg winning the first set 6-3, but now down a break in the second set.
Every corner or what?
Saving with Connors leading 5-2. Wind, a major factor in this match from the beginning, gusting up to 15 or 20 miles per hour at times. Borg suddenly losing more points at the net than he's winning. The match just now about an hour old. Connors seems to have gotten his second win after looking very fatigued near the end of the first set.
Bjorn having some trouble holding on to his racket on that serve. The humidity's very high. Here we look at the unforced errors by the sets, and Jimmy's really cut down on his unforced errors in this second set. On the other hand, Bjorn Borg, 2 more.
That total for Borg twice his total from yesterday against Creek. Almost flawless against Johan Creek in the semifinal. So Borg holds in this 8th game, but Connors still leads up a break, 5-3.
Looks like Jimmy's going to need a new shirt here. I'd say, Leaf, this is the critical game of the match right here for both players.
Connors really has to close it out now, and to have a chance in the third, even should this second go any longer, it would certainly tax him unduly. He really needs to close it out now. Save some energy for that third set.
Borg attacking a second serve. Good return of serve and moving in. Jimmy just not able to move to get in position.
I think this wind has really cut into Jimmy's second serve, and Borg has attacked it a lot today. When the ball's short, Borg has just run around and cracked that forehand and attacked.
Oh. 15 all.
Connor's one of the great closers in the game, but we saw last week in New York in that third set took him 10 championship points. Borg playing like he was at Wimbledon in the late 70s against Connors. 8 consecutive winners. A rare lob on this windy day.
Jimmy still has some doubles left, too, after this singles final.
Good look at Paddy Connors on the left.
So Jimmy Connors with 2 set points here to close out the second set. Forcing what I think we all probably already knew would be a 3-set match. And a nice save there by Borg.
40-30.
Connors with a good deep volley. Borg had the answer.
I think Jimmy figured that that set was his.
Just short the pitch.
Borg will get a second ball here to try and get it to deuce.
One-hander.
Well, he had to be 15 feet behind the baseline, too. A tremendous angle.
Connors comes in on a great approach, and I think he's amazed that Borg tried the one-hander. Normally hits with 2. There's the one-handed backhand that you seldom see from Bjorn Borg.
It's like a changeup.
Save 2 set points.
But that one just too good by Connors. Set point number 3 for Jimmy.
You hit your defense?
Number 6 for Jimmy Connors closes out the second set, so they've each won 6 games to 3. We'll be back with the deciding set when we return. Welcome back to Mashpee, Massachusetts, out on Cape Cod. Prime's coverage of the Champions Tour continues. Here, the Mentadent champions, presented by Power Stick. And we are deadlocked, 1 set apiece for Jimmy Connors and Bjorn Borg, each by the score of 6 games to 3. Dwight Stones, along with Leif Shiras and Dennis Ralston, bringing you this great match. Another classic duel between the Super Swede and the Junkyard Dog. And as we saw last week in New York, anything can happen. We've seen some great points this week here in Cape Cod from both of these players. And now we go to the third and deciding set. Jimmy Connors having won all 5 of the previous stops on this inaugural Champions Tour. And Bjorn Borg getting better and better each week. Having no problem cruising into the final this week, as did Jimmy. And this, as they say, ladies and gentlemen, is it. Bjorn Borg will begin serving in this third set.
Leaf, you still like your pick?
I like it. I think Jimmy's got a new shirt on. He's a bit refreshed. Sometimes you play through a tired period and you get that second wind going. Jimmy looks fresher than he did.
Yeah, I like your pick, too.
It's a real manly racket.
Now the picks in the booth this week are Stones and Ralston going with Borg and Shiras going with Connors.
like a winning approach shot, Borg just whips this down the line. He's got Borg stretched out, and this deep approach, and watch this flick of the wrist. What a passing shot. See, Jimmy knows it's coming here. 30 love. Borg serving, first game of the third set.
And that Borg forehand just long on the baseline.
Borg likes those easy points. He gets a lot of good first serves in.
Ace number 5 for Bjorn Borg to win the first game of the third set. And we'll be back with more when we come back to Willow Bend Country Club. Look at the career singles titles list. Jimmy Connors well ahead at 109. Von Lendl, who will probably join this tour next year as he turns 35, has 95 titles, and McEnroe way back at 77. He'll also be eligible for the Champions Tour in 1995. Jimmy Connors and Bjorn Borg remain on serve here in the third set, so we pick it up with Borg leading 3-2.
Borg a little too ambitious on that return. He's had some success attacking the second serve, but
each point becoming more and more critical now. You get the feeling that one break is going to make the difference here, deciding this match. On serve, Borg leading 3-2 in the third set.
Dwight, I think too, though, that the conditions, you know, are so tough down there. The balls that look like easy shots, there's nothing easy with that wind swirling. Bad bounces on the court. The miss hits.
Add the humidity to that equation. We've seen Borg lose his racket 3 different times, cracked 2 frames, lost a string. Both athletes now taking their time between points. Connors famous for taking probably more time than many, focusing on exactly what he needs to do, catching a little of a second wind.
I think he needs a smaller shirt. Clipped the line.
Out.
And an overrule.
Game Connors.
Boy, that was close.
An overrule from the chair gives the game to Connors.
That'd be hard for us to see from where we are, but it looks to me, well, can't tell. Yes, no. I call it good.
clearly out.
What do you think of that overrule, Leaf? Do you like that?
Well, it was in favor of my man, Connors, right now.
So you like it?
I thought it was a good, fair overrule. Plus, Jimmy's right on that line. If he saw it good, I'm sure he'd give it to Bjorn.
What a lob. Great approach by Connors. Now we see the famous Bjorn Borg topspin lob.
All the more impressive in these conditions. The wind gusting right about the moment he made that lob.
Yep. There's a patented two-hander.
All of a sudden, it seems like these guys have upped the level a little bit. Look at this passing shot off a good approach by Borg. 3-all, 15-all.
Well, he hit that approach shot very deep, but it was also very high. And that gave Connors that angle, down and away.
Borg is active on that baseline. Caught him standing around during 3 or 4 of those exchanges. Big point for Borg, down 15-30. Comes up with his 6th ace of the match against Connor's 7 aces.
Now Jimmy knew that he just, it wasn't that the serve was so fast. He just didn't move for it. And, he let one get by him, 30-all.
Borg with a drop volley winner. When you're looking to hit the drop volley, you've got to open up the racket face and take pace off the ball. So you almost pull the racket off the ball as it hits your frame.
Pretty gutsy shot at 30-all, 3-all in the 3rd set.
He's playing confidently.
Gives the game to Borg. They're on serve. 4-3 for Borg in the 3rd set. It's heating up. Borg back onto the court after a little break. And some of Champions Tour elite in the players' box. Johan Kriek in the middle of the screen. Roscoe Tanner a little bit to his right. Mel Purcell. And rocker Eddie Money. Mel Purcell there in the glasses, and Eddie Money there with his hand on his chin, enjoying the tennis here at the Willow Bend Country Club. And it's starting to get crunch time, folks. 1 set apiece on serve. Connor serving to Borg, 3 games to 4. The wind taking a little bit of a break for this moment, but it's been swirling and gusting all afternoon long. Whitestone, Steve Shiras, and Dennis Ralston bringing you here the action here on Prime. 6th stop of the Champions Tour. Connors having won the 5 previous stops. He's got all he can handle right here with Bjorn Borg. The 3rd time they've met in the finals on the tour. Connors meeting Kriek 3 times as well, winning all 3 of those meetings, and Connors winning the previous 2 meetings against Borg, including last week at Westchester Country Club in New York. An exciting 3-set match that Connors prevailed in, 6-4 in the 3rd.
40-15.
whipping up. Connors on the side where the wind is blowing into his face, upwards of 15 miles per hour, making that toss very difficult.
Well, as long as Borg keeps that ball in the back part of the court, he can get away with that soft chip, but anytime it falls short, Connors is going to come in and eat it for lunch.
First lob for Jimbo, and certainly worked well. Borg makes a great backhand volley here, but he's very close to the net. Really wasn't that great a lob, but just the Borg was just too close, and he gets ready. He's in trouble. Wynn holds it up. Connors holds to make the score 4-all, third set.
Gee, Borg disappointed me a little bit. I know Swedes can jump better than that.
Well, he won't be on the basketball team.
Serve and attacking, which is a good play, but Borg answers with a great forehand pass. And Jimmy still looks real tired, but he competes. He never gives up.
Yeah, I think both of the guys are a bit tired after a long week of tennis, but I think it shows in that they want to play shorter points, you know. Both guys are attacking now, trying to close out the points perhaps a shot or two earlier than they would if they were completely fresh.
This ninth game of the third set, a huge game for both players. If Borg can hold, he's in a hugely advantageous position, but if Connors were to break him here, that'd probably be it.
Second serve really crossed Jimmy up. He wasn't sure whether to play it on the forehand or the backhand. It got into his body.
Got a break there. That volley wasn't exactly right where Bjorn wanted it.
Also not a textbook stroke. He took a little bit of a swing at that one and dropped it right on the line. 40-15.
Great serve and volley by Bjorn Borg.
So Borg takes the ninth game of the third set. He leads 5 games to 4. And we'll be back with more of the Metadent champions right after this. Welcome back to Cape Cod for Prime's continuing coverage of the Champions Tour this week in Mashpee, Massachusetts for the Metadent champions. There's Patty Connors, wife of Jimmy. And we have got a hot one here. 1 set apiece. Connors versus Borg. Connors serving, Borg leading 5 games to 4. Dwight Stones, Lee Sharp, and Dennis Ralston bringing in the action. And Connors has never lost in 5 previous stops on the Champions Tour. Ralston and Stones picking Borg. Shivers picking Connors. The wind, the humidity, the heat, all factors this entire week. Both Connors and Borg getting to the final in straight set victories in the quarters and the semis. Connors the number 1 seed, Borg the number 3 seed. This their 3rd meeting in the finals on the Champions Tour. And this match has been another classic Borg-Connors battle. We've seen everything from these two players.
So Borg is just content here to put some balls back into play, and I really think he has an opportunity here to be a little more aggressive, perhaps, go after the win.
Well, when you're up, normally with you know, up a game lead and the other guy serving, it's a good idea to take some chances, do something. Very close on that passing shot.
Well, as we get down to these tense last moments, you certainly want your level of play to be right there then. But Borg has really played a sloppy game here. That's a bit better.
Borg's the kind of player, though, that can run off a bunch of points in a row, and even 40 love, Jimmy can't afford to relax.
We saw examples of that last week when Borg saved 9 match points against Connors in the third set on his own serve and on Connors' serve.
A little debris coming across the court. All of a sudden, 40-30 from 40 love. And Jimmy taking a lot of time here. Very big point.
Holding in the 10th game. There have been no breaks, and they're on serve at 5-all.
Well, Borg's got time, and he sets up. Look at that beautiful shoulder turn. Tries to drive this one a little flatter. He knows how much that one meant. Would have pulled him within 2 points of the match. But instead, it's 5-all. And he's serving now downwind, so the pressure now back on his shoulders. Well, again, Borg giving up a lot of real estate. He's very deep in the court. Connors handles that nice angle volley. Show he's ready.
This is the furthest that Jimmy Connors has been pushed into any match during the Champions Tour. Beating Borg last week 6-4 in the third.
This might be the first time Jimmy's been ahead in this match, too. You know, when he gets ahead, he pounces normally.
Double fault of the match. He hasn't had one since the first set, which is saying something for both these players. With this wind, for there only to be 2 double faults in the match, Connors has suffered none. And Connors ahead of Borg 7 aces to 6. And a big point in the match for Connors. Triple breaker against Borg. time behind him. Tough to gauge those lobs, and Borg able to save one break point. And ace number 7 for Bjorn Borg. Helps negate that double fault to a degree, but still one more break point to save.
That's it. Great approach by Connors.
So Connors breaks in the 11th game of the 3rd set. The match will be on his racket when we return to Willow Bend Country Club. And that graphic tells it all. It's crunch time. It all comes down to this. Connors up a break, leading 6-5 in the 3rd set against Bjorn Borg. The wind's gusting upwards of 15 miles an hour, blowing in his face as he has the match on his racket.
Please wake up.
Sure glad I picked Connors in this match, Leaf.
Connors now with a nice chance here. Borg again, a couple of loose arrows have really undone him.
Great effort by Connors. Really looked fatigued early on in this match, and he's just battled. That's the trademark of Connors. He just competes and competes and never quits.
Yeah, he really played through that fatigue well, and tough conditions too today, so he's come through a lot.
Triple championship point for Connors. For the 6th consecutive time on the Champions Tour, Jimmy Connors emerges victorious in a final. And we'll be back with more when we return to Willow Bend Country Club right after this. And for the winner's presentation, let's go down to the executive director of the Champions Tour, Henry Bren.
Henry Bren, executive producer of the Champions Tour.
Another round of applause for a great match.
And I just think Cape Cod's a great place to host a great tournament like this. Tremendous energy goes into producing an event like this. I'd like to first thank all the volunteers, over 100 of them, Laura Granito and her terrific staff, Craig Fleming, and our family here at Willow Bend, and not to mention, of course, the 150% effort put in by the players. Now, I'd like to introduce Mr. David Southworth, Managing Director of the Willow Bend Corporation.
hope this is the first inning, and we look forward to next year. Congratulations.
Now to present the final check, Ms. Neil Silverman, New England manager for U.S. News and World Report, and Marion Summers, brand manager for Power.
On behalf of U.S. News and World Report and Power Sync, we want to thank all the folks at Willow Bend, Jimmy Connors, and the players. It was an absolutely fantastic week, and we look forward to the action next year.
Thank you. First of all, you've been great. I mean, the whole week you've been out there and in a great crowd and playing such a good match as me and Jimmy did today in front of you people. It was a nice feeling. So thank you very much. I'd like to thank all the sponsors, especially the Borg boys and Borg girls, doing a great job. Thank you. And next time I'll get you. Next time I'll get you. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Great marketing manager for Chief Pro Funds, will present the trophy and the check to the champion.
On behalf of Chief Pro Funds and Medinet, we'd like to thank all the players for just a great week of tennis. We'd like to thank Willow Bend for their hospitality. It's absolutely been beautiful. And Jimmy, as a true champion, congratulations. I'd also like to present you with a check for $40,000 on a great day. Thank you. I could use it too. Well, that's the best I have golfer out here playing today against Bjorn. If you want any more than that from me, you're not going to get it. Everybody said that the week has been great, and it has. You know, it takes a lot of players, a lot of people, a lot of sponsors, a lot of volunteers, and a lot of fans to make a successful event and a successful week like this has been. So for everybody that's been a part of this, I'd like to thank you. From Medinet to U.S. News to Power Stick to Willow Bend to Reebok and everybody that's been involved here. This has been a week that hopefully shoots us up to the next level as far as the Champions Tour goes. You all were a part of it. I thank you, and we will be back. Thank you.
Congratulations to Jimmy Connors. He prevails once again in a class